Oh, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How are we all doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. Nathan, what's good, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Oh, good, bro.
good.
Good.
I'm keeping it together.
Just about, just about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the second week running, I got doo-doo camera. Sorry, guys. You guys have been used to me finessing this thing with my crispy little 50mm lens, but hey, all I know is I'm switching up to streaming platform soon. So hopefully we'll provide some better streams in the coming days.
Mad.
Anyways, once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Big up everybody who's joining us now. Just drop an emoji in the comments and just let us know where you're tuning in from. Say hello to you all as well. Please participate because we got a lovely young lady on this channel today who hopefully is going to drop some gems for us all. So, who is in the building setting some levels for us today? Please introduce yourself, miss.
Oh, okay. So I'm Paula. I'm the founder of Rayo, which is a footwear company for ladies that wear a UK size 7+. Outside of that, I actually work full time as a digital marketing manager as well for a
Wow.
publishing company. So that's my full time job, but my dream is Rayo. So yeah.
No, wicked. So Rayo started off as the side hustle and took over.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't taken over yet, but let's hope it will soon.
Fingers crossed. No, that's wicked. I had no idea you was a digital marketer. What was you
Yeah.
what was you what was you saying, Mason?
I said fingers crossed. No.
Oh, fingers crossed. I thought he
Thank
was pointing to
you.
the air. Thought he was doing this. I thought he was doing the Caribbean gum fingers and that, bro.
You're a fool. Fire, baby.
Fire, baby. What's it called? But no, so I was gonna actually ask, what is your background before Rayo?
Oh,
So now you've told us. Yeah, digital marketing. How long have you been doing that for?
it is. I feel like I've been doing it, for like 5 years now. I actually
Mm.
studied law at uni, so completely different. But like for the longest time, I wanted to be a barrister, and then when I went uni, I changed to solicitor. And then whilst I was at uni, I was like, do you know what? Law is
None
just
of this.
in the long term. So then I started thinking, what do I actually want to do long term? And from uni, I already knew that long term I wanted to run my own business. So then I thought to myself, okay, if I can't do that right now, let me just enjoy whatever I am doing and make sure it's something I can actually apply to my business. And also marketing is something that's quite important in business. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me get a job in marketing. And then I got a job as an assistant and I just worked my way up from there.
No, wicked. I think you kind of hit in a nutshell because for those that don't know, what is your ethnic background?
Well, I'm
How's your
Nigerian.
heritage? Sorry, not ethnic
Oh
background.
yeah, I'm Nigerian, fully Nigerian, Yoruba.
There you go.
That's me, yeah.
So you're like myself, who's got the parents. You're like, hey, you have to be a doctor, you have to be
Yeah.
a lawyer, you have to be this, you have to be that, and
Do you
it's
know
like,
what? I give my parents the benefit of the doubt because I actually studied law because I genuinely wanted to be.
oh right, okay,
It wasn't because they like forced me to do it or anything. Like there was even one point I kind of changed my mind just before I went uni, but then like I ended up doing law anyway. But my parents aren't your typical Nigerian parents.
oh
Anyone
yeah,
with them will agree with that. But I do know, there's only 3 professions that Africans can do: lawyer or doctor. But
yep,
luckily, I
yep.
had options, but I still went down the law route anyway.
Do you know what I think it is? I think sometimes we're born with this innate pressure. Like nobody has to tell us. It's like when you're born, you're going to be one of these
Yeah.
3 things. That's it. That is legit.
Let
It.
me be honest. You know what really made me want to initially do law? The thing that initially like sparked my interest is in school. You like do all of these career stuff, and then I was looking into it because it was actually my she wanted to be a lawyer. So I thought, oh, let me look into this, and then I saw how much they got paid, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is actually interesting now. That was the initial thing that actually got me interested in law. I have to be honest.
The paycheck.
Yeah.
At least you're honest. At least you're straight up honest with it. The paycheck is what drew you to it. But no, that's dope. So you, as you said, you initially started off with the law stuff, and then you got into marketing. But what spawned the idea of Rayo?
So Honestly, I guess it was just myself. When I initially started Rayo, it was really for selfish reasons because I wear size 9. I'm quite tall. I'm 5'10" and a half. And I feel like usually taller women, they tend to have larger feet as well. That's not all tall women, but from my experience, that's been the case. And I, in second year, got more into fashion in uni. So I had always struggled to find shoes, but I wasn't as annoyed with it that I started to get in second year because I was actually becoming very interested in fashion. I wanted shoes that were on trend. I wanted to just walk into a normal shop and get shoes in my size, but the struggle is too real. And I feel like, honestly, unless it's a struggle you have, then a lot of people might think it's such a minor thing. But I remember on one particular occasion, it was the ACS ball in, I think, my first year of uni. And then this rolled over into second year. But yeah, first year of uni, all I wanted was a pair of red heels. It's a simple thing. It's not like I wanted anything crazy, but the struggle to find those red heels, honestly.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it really was a lot. And then I think that was like the initial trigger that made me think about starting my own thing. Yeah, that was literally it.
No, to be honest, I hear you on that. An ex of mine, she was also a size 9. And the struggle was like real.
Yeah.
Every time that she wanted to buy some shoes and that, it was like a myth. And sometimes they'll do really limited ones, which will go up to a supposed size 9, but it's really like an 8 and a half. So you literally have to cut off half your toe to fit into it and stuff like that.
It's so true. These are the things, like it's either they don't have your size, or if they do have your size, it's not actually true to size, or if they have your size in the style you want, it's like £1,000 or just something ridiculous like that. So that's the struggle.
It's dumb. And they'll just claim, oh, we have to use more material. I'm like, shut up, man. That's so libbies.
Do you know what? It's a lie, because doing this production, I can see you don't need to use anything more. It's the same. Don't believe the lies. Yeah.
Okay. Which uni did you go to, if you mind me asking?
I went to Nottingham Trent, NTU.
Wow. Mace, what's Nottingham saying for you, bro?
Bro, I was there for a couple of years, man.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? What were you doing?
No, I lived up there for a bit because I used to play football, so I lived up there.
What was Nottingham like for you? Because they don't say some good things about Nottingham sometimes.
And then you know what's mad? It's like, I'm not gonna lie, like Nottingham's one of them places where like that's where I really started. Like I started DJing and I had to sever ties with the city, man. I'm not gonna lie.
You had to sever ties.
Yeah, like long story short, like I saw this guy get glassed right in front of the DJ booth, and I was like, yeah, that's it for me. Bro.
I'm out.
Man glassed him and proceeded to try and stab him up. So I said, yep, I'm done with this. I was like, that was me. Thank you. Not is cool, man. I do like the area. Just yeah.
It is a lot, to be fair.
What was your experience there, though?
In Nottingham?
Yeah.
I loved Nottingham because, like, for uni, it was a really good place to go uni. And to be fair, I do get where you're coming from, because I think it even had like the nickname of Shottingham or something like that. Like, I mean, I don't know what to say. Honestly, for me, I just loved it because I live in when I moved here to where I actually live, there's not a lot of Black people here. So when I went uni, I specifically chose a place where there'll be a good amount of Black people. It's great to just be around people that I could just connect with and be comfortable with, and just, yeah, I loved it as a city, and everything was like really close. And I mean, I did a few dodgy things here and there. Obviously, you just like let it go over your head because I'm at uni. What can I do?
Exactly. You're here to study. You're here to study is what they say.
It's true.
Are you London based now?
No, I'm actually based in Peterborough. I don't know if even
wow. Yeah.
heard of it. Yeah, but I've always been based in Peterborough. I moved here when I was 10, so yeah.
From where?
I used to live in Southeast London, and then I moved here. So
where? Peckham, the Nigerian side. No.
No, I actually lived in Deptford.
Close enough.
Even worse.
Oh no, that's dope. I mean, and how's Peterborough been for you in
Uh,
terms of the black people there,
yeah.
and how you just feel living there generally?
Do you know what? I don't mind living here. Like, I've been here so long now. I'm just used to it. I wouldn't really say it's a city for young people. If you want to move somewhere fun, then I Peterborough, I have to be honest. But I don't know. I think I respect my parents for moving us here because obviously they wanted to like buy a house. That's the main reason we moved out of London.
Yeah.
It's more affordable to buy houses in Peterborough and places outside of London. And growing up here, I really got to mix with a more diverse range of people than like being in Southeast London. So I actually appreciate it because I feel like I was just able to learn how to really interact with people in a different way. So yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I would advise people who want to have fun not to move here, but there are better cities. But if you're like a young family or you're just starting out in your career or you like quiet places, then it's an all right place to be. So yeah.
but just not for fun, innit? Not for partying. You never know, though, innit?
I really feel like I'm underselling it. I mean, there are some decent restaurants and stuff like that, but if I want to have a night out, then I wouldn't be going out in Peterborough.
That's what I was about to say. What about if you want to rave?
No, I wouldn't recommend anyone travel to Peterborough for raving. It's not.
Listen, everybody, if you see Peterborough, somebody saying come out for a night in Peterborough, big red flag. That's all she's saying. Big red flag.
I guess it depends on the kind of music you like as well, but
Afrobeat, innit? Afrobeat is best out in Peterborough. You know,
there's one club that does play Afrobeat. So if you want to go to that one club, then
why not? Why not? You might see all the uncles and aunties there, innit, shaking their head.
It's never a good night when it's just one spot in the whole area.
It's popping there. Anyways, we come off track. So back to Rayo. So I mean, how long have you been then running Rayo for now?
So I initially launched in 2017, and I launched with one style. And like I said, when I initially launched, I was literally just thinking about myself. I just wanted shoes for me that fit. So I wouldn't say that the business really had a deeper meaning or purpose to it. So when I launched, in that first year, I literally made like 10 sales. And I was thinking the sales would flood in and I would sell out immediately. But I think after that first year, I had to do a lot of reflection and really think about, like, aside from shoes for me, what is the actual purpose of this brand? So I think about 18 months into running it, I kind of stopped. I took the website down and I really, really had to go into deep thought because even like my passion for the business just went. Like, I just felt I didn't know what else to do, to make it work. So I just kind of left it. And then I spoke to a friend of mine who's actually my designer. Like, she does all my tech packs and stuff like that. And we just had a really good conversation and it made me think more deeply about the purpose of Rayo. So yeah, basically I decided that the aim of the business is to inspire women to be confidently their authentic selves by providing them with the styles they deserve in the sizes they need. And then that's kind of like what I was working with to relaunch. And then I relaunched in February this year. So yeah, I guess technically it's been about a month. Yeah.
Okay. So from your initial launch in 2017, that's a big hiatus though. That's a long kind of process to think about. But I guess, I mean, is it the fashion, the Rayo group that I'm part of as well? Thank you for the invite, by the way. Is that something that you started yourself, or somebody was just like, obviously, like, just let's hook up and we all combine and do it together?
Yeah, no, it was literally something that I started myself. So basically, I mean, the hiatus is long, but I think I launched like end of 2017 and then ran for about like 18 months to 2 years. So by 2019, at that point, I really had to think. And I think it was about a year or so that I took out to just think. And then after that, 2020, I was really working to actually launch. But the whole process of manufacturing the shoes is quite long in itself because everything takes time. So that's kind of why it is much longer. But in terms of that group, part of the reason I started the group is because I was thinking, okay, cool, I want to relaunch this business. I literally have no background in fashion. everything I've learned so far has pretty much been by Googling stuff and just figuring it out. Like, I didn't really talk to any professionals or anything like that. And that's why I thought, do you know what? I can't be the only one that's running a fashion business that doesn't know what they're doing. And that's why I started the group chat. I literally just put a message in a few other group chats that I was in, like with business people. And I was like, hey, does anyone have a fashion business that they're starting or running, and do you want to be part of a group? Just message me and I'll add you. And that was literally it. And then I went to one of Rebecca Tembo's workshops. I think it was just about how to start a fashion brand. And then there was loads of people in there who said, oh yeah, we should create a group. And I just used that as an opportunity. I said, oh, I've already got one. If you want to join, here's the link. And that was it.
No, I mean, it's grown really nicely because there's a good over 150 people in that group.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of people.
Which is wicked. And you got
finding it beneficial, so.
No, it's wicked. Although from my side, I'm quiet because I'm not a brand as such. However, because of what we're trying to do in terms of shining a light on the upcoming brands, that's why when it was my friend Alex actually who told me about it, and I said, yeah, holla, put me in touch. It was like, all right, cool, let's see what it's about. And just sitting back and watching people, it's one of the few times I see people actually really like united. It's gonna sound mad because half the time I see people trying to battle each other a bit too much, especially two things, when you're in the same field and when you're starting up. It's like, surely everybody's got stuff they can learn from each other, and there's people in that group who are always dropping gems and doing some real good stuff. So it was wicked to see. That leads me on to my next question, and this is specifically for Black people. Why do you think a lot of Black people don't trust each other?
Do you know what? I love questions like this because
I'm in a
no, I like talking about issues
straight in, you know.
Do you know what? I think let me think. Why don't Black people trust each other? I do think it's changing. I feel like with younger generations there is more trust coming about. But I personally think a lot of these things really kind of stem from things like slavery and colonization. And I know that's like really going deep with it. But when you think about it, those systems that were put in place to basically break community amongst Black people is something that's kind of been passed on to generations. So like, we have this thing where it's like it's always a competition with each other. And actually, that's not the case. The reality is when we work together, we'll see a much bigger impact. And when you look at other communities of people, they really work together. Like Jewish people, they work together. Asian people work together. Even white people, like they really work together. But I think as Black people, because these things have kind of been ingrained in us, it's like we're trying to now change that narrative, and now we're beginning to work together a little bit more. And I personally think that that's where the trust issues do stem from. And I think also, like, just in certain situations, I don't know if it's just a Black thing or what, but I don't even want to speak badly of Nigerians because, you know, I love my Nigerians. But for example, little things like 419 is rife in Nigeria. So if you've experienced that kind of thing, you'll be less inclined to trust someone who has something to you.
You know what? Yeah, and sorry to cut you. Like, a lot of people say a lot of different things about the 419 thing. Nigerians are not even the worst. They're not even the worst. Like, and I feel like they get labeled so badly, right, by, you know, people. It's bad. Like, they're not even the worst. Like, there's people out there ripping people off for much bigger sums.
100%.
But
do you know what it is though?
Get the label, and I just think it's mad. Like,
no, let me say, I think the reason Nigerians get labeled for it the most is because I agree. Like, 419 is basically a type of fraud, and everyone is doing fraud in some way. In like every country has fraud happening. Even like the government, let's be honest, there's fraudulent behavior not just in Nigerian governments, it's all governments. But I think the reason maybe Nigerians are labeled so much is because the people that do it are just very open about it.
They don't care.
A joke, yeah. It's
They
like
don't
if
care.
they do it, they're not gonna like, I don't know, put
It's a
money in an
profession.
offshore. Yeah, but the money that it's not gonna go in an offshore account. It's like they'll go and buy a Lamborghini, and it's like, well, that doesn't add up. Like, where did you get the money for this Lamborghini?
You know what it is? You know what it is? I think what gave Nigeria the worst rep was eBay. eBay shagged it, because when I was in uni, 2006 to 2009, like they actively put a ban on anybody buying and selling from Nigeria. And anytime you'd come on eBay, it would give you this big alert saying, warning, sellers from Nigeria will do fraud. So imagine eBay at the time is doing up what Amazon is doing now, innit? And everybody's buying off there, so that just instills fraud in your head from off. So
It's just racism, bro. It's racism. I can't let them throw my Niger brothers under the bus like that, bro. It's racism, bro.
No. Do you know what it is? It's just different types. Because, like I said, I think fraud is something that happens everywhere, but people just do it in different ways. So I think maybe the issue, I don't even want to say it's just Nigerians that do that kind of stuff on eBay. I think when you think about like other governments, for example, they're maybe doing white collar crime that we might not see as much. Not be like you're ripping off an individual, but they're ripping off like another government or something like that. But we're not going to see that. And then they're not going to put a warning saying, "Oh, don't deal with the UK government because they're stealing." It's like they're not going to do that. So
no, that's true.
Just to touch on what you said about sort of like trust, just going back to that, I think it's genuinely like maybe just, I think it's just might be just a black thing. Not as in like we don't trust each other. We just don't trust in general. Like we just don't trust in general. And like I don't know if it's just me, but that kind of stuff you get it you pick it up from early doors. I don't know if we picked it up from our parents or the environments that we grew up in, but we're less likely to trust people. You never really hear of black kids kind of getting abducted. You can't pick up a black child and walk away with a black child. Like it's just not going to happen. So yeah, I feel like we're just less trusting as a people. That comes from. There's no real. I don't know if there might be some proof out there. Maybe someone's done some studies, but I just feel like as a people we're less trusting in general of everyone. Really.
That's true.
Yeah, I think the reason I brought up that point was because I was watching a what's it called with Master P. Sorry, 1 second. Master P. Have you heard of a podcast called Earn Your Leisure or Earn Your Leisure? If you haven't, definitely check them out. There's two brothers out of America who are really like trying to shed some light on how to maximize money, your economy, trades and all of this stuff, and really like uplifting stories to really help the black community in particular and trying to teach people to be financially literate. But anyway, I was watching Master P on it, and he was saying about how a lot of the time as a black people, we won't give each other a chance. So now what I'm trying to say is, because some of the brands that we work with, they will produce some of their stuff in the same, say, factory as, say, like a Prada or something like that. But because of the name, for example, understand reputations, everything, they won't trust it. But more to the point, they won't even give it a chance. And now that's what I'm trying to ask you. Like, have you ever come across something in that situation where you felt as though you haven't been given a chance or a fair look in some instances? And what are your struggles in that sense? Because you do digital marketing.
Yeah.
So what are your struggles in that aspect?
So what are you basically saying, that because like maybe let's say for example Rayo is not necessarily a big brand, people might pass up that opportunity to work with Rayo as opposed to like Prada?
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like that, to be honest, it does happen, and I actually think more so. I don't think I've experienced that with Rayo yet, but I do have like a black empowerment movement called It's a Movement, and sometimes when you reach out to certain people to be panelists, you know, like, oh, because it's just a small thing, they're less willing to want to work with you because you're not big. And honestly, I never really take them kind of things personally. I don't know if it's a trust thing or more like an image thing, because I do also think as black people we like to do a lot a lot of image, like we want to show just like, oh yeah, I've got this thing with this business. But I do think there are some people who are more willing to like support grassroots things and that are willing to support smaller businesses. And I think people who do that have like the bigger picture in mind as well, because although the thing is small now doesn't mean it's going to be small later on. So I don't know, that's such a hard question. I don't think I even answered that question well.
No, you did. No, you did, because I again, it's a question I asked deliberately because I want to know other people's thoughts. Because, for example, like speaking honestly, keeping it straight 100, like this platform Levels, for example, when I tell people what we want to do, and they're like, yeah, no, it sounds like a wicked idea, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is how we want to do our kind of advertising and marketing. How do you feel about working with us? Then it becomes a bit like, oh, we're not too sure about this, that, the other. And then that's where I go, okay, cool. I understand that we're not, say, big and everything like that. But the point of helping us as well as helping yourselves is that it gives you another place and another angle, possibly to meet somebody that you don't even know that you could have come across who can help propel you further. Like a jewelry brand that we work with, they took a chance with us effectively because we were 300 followers on Instagram, just with a really big idea. They're like, cool. Next thing you know, they've reached out to a couple of artists that we worked with, and now they're doing so much other little bits of work with them. They've now joined another what's it called? Another site who are doing something similar to us. I've got no problem with that. I want to see people win as well. So that's what they're doing. Great, fantastic. But I look at that and go, that's what I'm talking about. If we just like pause and actually just like, you know what, let's work with each other and see where anything can go. You never know what can happen. But that's why I asked that question, because sometimes I feel like a bit cut by it, as to say.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And I actually think a lot of the time it comes down to like a scarcity mindset as well. Like a lot of people think, oh, this is my idea. So like, for example, I'm starting a shoe brand, so I can't help anyone else who's starting a shoe brand because they're going to steal my customers, or they're going to steal my idea, or like there's not going to be opportunity for me to grow. So I'm just going to keep to myself. When in reality, that's actually not the way to work.
It's backwards, yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's why I feel like as Black people, I don't even want to keep saying as Black people because I feel like it's a big generalization, but I do think some Black people have that mindset where they think they can't help anyone else or anyone that's smaller than them because they don't want to like lose out, or they don't want it to be like, oh, that person is using them or whatever. But honestly, I just feel like there's enough out there, like there's enough money, enough customers out there for all of us to actually succeed. And the whole point of helping each other is so that we can actually all reach different audiences. We can reach, you know, each other's customers and connect each other, like you said, with people who might potentially be able to help. But I think people just have this mindset that if they've got an idea, that's it.
And that's it.
Have that idea, and I think that's a problem.
It's a massive problem, and again, that's why it's so wonderful when I'm part of the fashion founders by Rayo group. It's refreshing to see people actually very willing to share the information. Like half of you guys are all talking about, I'm looking for a manufacturer, and you guys are outsourcing to China and all these things. I'm like, right, it's so wicked to see that, because that's the way that the whole industry can grow in such a great way and inclusive way. I get people want to monopolize and people want to eat.
Yeah, no, I think especially for like minority groups, because the thing is, in certain industries, we won't have access, as much access to certain things as like other Black people. So I mean, as people who, I'm going to speak from a Black point of view. So as Black people, there are certain industries that we won't have as much exposure to as, you know, someone who's white. But I think that's just naturally being minorities. We're not going to have as much exposure, or we're not going to have as many connections within certain industries. So I think if like someone has that connection, then why not share? Because it's not necessarily a thing like, let's say, for example, if I get a big contract with ASOS, for example, and I just decide, you know what, I'm not going to share my point of contact, but sharing my point of contact, maybe not with the whole world, but sharing it with someone who asks, that's not going to hurt me because I've already got a contract with ASOS. Do you know what I mean? So I think little things like sharing the point of contact. It's not necessarily like you're sharing your whole contract and you're sharing everything that you did, but just little things that can help people like get a foot in the door or help them access something that may be more difficult to access for them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that's the whole thing of that group, because I just feel like, let's just share. We all want to be successful together.
It's true. It's true. So ASOS. Oh, why am I echoing? Am I echoing to you guys?
Yeah, for a minute still.
I've been echoing.
Yeah.
So why are you saying nothing?
No, it sounded all right to me.
That people been talking. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to say too much. Yeah.
Echoing now.
Are you
Hear me?
echoing? Yeah, you're quite clear now.
All right, cool, fine. I just changed the feed. Flip, I forgot my question now. Thank you. Bloody hell, throw me off because I'm echoing. I don't know. All of a sudden I heard myself.
Jeez.
So sharp, man.
It's my fault now, you know. Like, I'm trying not to interrupt, and you're like, yeah. Anyways.
No, I've totally forgot my question. I totally. Oh, ASOS. Do you actually work with ASOS?
No, I don't.
Okay, I was about to say.
Example. I want to get on ASOS, so if anyone's got a contact, let me know. But I still think there's some time before I need to do that. So yeah.
Why do you want to get on ASOS?
On ASOS?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think I really feel like there's a big gap in the market for what I do, and I think the kind of styles that I have would actually fit quite nicely on ASOS, and also because like the kind of people that I'm trying to reach are the kind of people that would also shop on ASOS, because having larger feet, there's not a lot of options. And I feel like ASOS more or less is like the closest to achieving what I want to achieve, because they have started to stock larger sizes. So I definitely think there'll be a good crossover, and also for increased exposure, because I think being on ASOS is a really big platform, so people who don't already know the brand will be able to see it and access it, you know, especially if they're going to ASOS for larger shoes specifically. So that's why I would want to get on ASOS. But I think in my mind, what I want to do is get a good amount of sales and really have a good process in place before I start looking to expand in that kind of way. But it's definitely something that I would want to do.
And how have things been going so far since your relaunch in February?
So, I mean, I think things have been going better than last time. I mean, I definitely feel like, although I've not had like a huge influx of sales, there have been pre-orders, which is great because that's going to help cover the cost of production. And also I feel quite confident that things are going to pick up, because obviously we're coming out of lockdown and the shoes that I'm selling are very much going out shoes, so not indoor. And also I said this to my designer, I was like, I know that if they go down, which I'm sure they will, that it's not because of the style of the shoe, because the style of the shoes are actually really, and I don't think there's any issues there. I think it was because of like poor marketing, funnily enough.
You think so? Well, the thing is, it's trial and error though.
It is. It really is.
There's so much trial and error, especially because what you got, IG is the biggest platform. I'm echoing again, aren't I?
I don't know if it's you.
Sounds alright.
It could just be, I don't know, some just odd feedback.
Maybe it's strange. Well, as I said, I'm coming off this thing anyway after this one, so I apologize again, guys, for any technical difficulties. So yeah, but I was saying about Instagram, it is difficult because as I've been learning a little bit with Levels, because we don't actually, well, we're starting to anyway have our own things to put out. When we didn't have our stuff, it was just a reposting kind of page, as to say, which is very difficult because Instagram likes a lot of original content, which we just weren't providing. So that was one thing. Like, we just literally just wiped our page clean and we started again. And the first picture that we put up was of myself and Tash, who runs the page with me. And honestly, of most of the pictures that we just put up, it's actually got probably the best interaction already right from the off. And I was just like, raw, okay. I never saw this coming. So now it's a combination of original content and plus I think making stuff a little bit more personal.
Yeah,
again, this is why if anybody in the Fashion Founders group is actually watching this right now, I encourage you to come on, because I want you guys to actually speak your story, like Paula is doing right now, is speak your story. And when you guys get bigger and can reflect on stuff, it's like, oh wow, we did this with Levels, and actually people can actually say, I want to find out more about this person. They can come and look here and see exactly what it is. And I think it's very important that people find out who the people are behind brands. I
Yeah,
really do think it's important,
Mhm.
because that's just how you build trust, especially with us as black people. Anyways, like, you see our faces,
Mhm.
you see our faces now. This is us. Like, hi, how you doing? Like, let's talk.
Mhm.
Like, this is what I do, and I really think
Mhm.
that's probably the best way to push things forward.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not surprised that that did well at all. I mean, that is because at the end of the day, it's a social network as well. And as much as you want to like showcase your product or your service or whatever, but people connect with people. So if you're able to share your story in some kind of way, and just think about like the kind of content that you share as well, because each one should have some kind of purpose. So that
yeah,
sharing a picture of yourselves is like to create that personal aspect of the brand, but then obviously sharing the interviews is to showcase your this or your product or whatever it is that you're doing. So there's a purpose behind everything, and I mean, it's easier said than done because I still need to do my social posts. But yeah,
your what post?
I
Sorry.
need to schedule my social posts for Rayo. It was going before, but it's because I need to create more content. I need to just get it together.
Yeah, to be honest, it's not easy. It's not easy to think, because, like, obviously, without going into detail, do you have obviously a specific strategy as to how you want to create your content? Are you using influencers and stuff like that to build?
So, I mean, I do have like an overall marketing strategy, and I do want to use like influencers and people within my specific niche, to just help the brand grow. But again, that's something I want to do as like I've hit a set before, once I've hit a certain target in sales. And I know that might seem a bit like counterproductive, but the thing is with influencer marketing, as good as it is, a lot of the time, obviously, you still need to send out free products, and sending out free products costs
It's
me
money.
money. Yeah. So I need to be in a place where, although it's going to cost me money, it's still going to provide like a good return on investment and within a decent period of time. So yeah, that's kind of like, I'm definitely going to be using influencer marketing. But even aside from that, I think utilizing things like email marketing is really good because again, you're able to create that personal relationship with your customers and just kind of thinking outside the box, because obviously social media is really important when it comes to marketing, but I think a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of other ways to market to people as well as social media, and it's just about having like a fully functioning marketing funnel.
Give us some tips that, well, for people that are watching who happen to be famous. Any kind of tips you can share, little
Okay,
ones.
so I think little things like some brands, they start, because I see like, and I also have made this mistake when I initially launched back in 2017, even though obviously I work in marketing, it's easier said than done, like I said. But I think some brands, for example, if you're going to launch your business, don't wait until your products are ready before you start telling people about the business. Definitely build a mailing list prior to launching, because then at least you're launching to an audience of people who have already expressed interest in your brand. So that's one thing that I would say is really important, because at the end of the day, you need to get sessions to your website and then you can work on like converting those sessions. So that's one thing I would say. And also, like, social media, like I said, is meant to be social. So as much as possible, I would say try not to just make every post buy. Like, maybe if you're in the phase where you don't have your products yet and you're just trying to build the mailing list, you can start by telling people the story behind the brand. Like, why did you start it? What do you hope to achieve with it? Like, different things like that. And even things like when people comment on your posts saying things like, oh, I love this, love that, whatever. If people DM you saying that they love your brand and they love what you're doing, screenshot it and share it, because it's social proof. You're showing that people are interested in this product or service that you're selling. And because of that, other people will be interested as well, because we all do what other people do. We're creatures of habit. We like to copy people. So if you can show that people are interested in your product, people are buying your product, then you definitely should share that everywhere.
100%. Oh, great tips.
Thanks.
Great tips. I mean, obviously coming from a digital marketer. The thing is, like you say, you've fallen some obviously some traps yourself, but for your fashion brand though, is there anything specifically that you think needs to be targeted for you to grow in that regard? Apart from the social aspects and stuff like that, anything that you personally feel
that I need to do?
Mm.
Do you know what? I feel like I'm very much at the beginning stages. Although I launched in 2017, I'm just kind of using this relaunch as a completely new chapter. So everything that I've taken from before, I am applying it to this. But I think for me specifically, one thing that I realized is super important is consistency, because people want it. Like, the thing is with people, a lot of the time, unless maybe it's like your friends or family, they're not going to buy the first time they see something to do with your brand. I think they actually say there's like 7 different touch points. So there's 7 times that someone needs to see your product before they're going to buy it. So I think being consistent, that means you're constantly on people's feed. And even if it's like being consistent with sending out email marketing, you're constantly in people's inbox. And then another thing you can do is actually when people sign up to your mailing list, you can use social media ads to retarget to people who have signed up to your mailing list. So it's stuff like that is going to keep getting your products in front of people, and they're going to keep seeing what you're doing. They're going to keep seeing your brand until eventually they buy. And then when they buy, that's not it. Keep emailing them so that they'll buy again. Keep remarketing to them so that they'll buy again. So it's just like a circle. Once someone's in that funnel, never let them go.
You see, Mason, you see this, yeah? This talk right here that she's doing is the 419 in her, yeah, saying these people there, that one there, get that one. That one there.
Hey.
No, the reality of it is that this is what big companies do. But we as like startups and small businesses, we think we can't do it, but you can do Facebook ads for like as little as I think £2 a day. So if you're just testing things here and there, this is what they do. Like, you know, when you Google something and then all of a sudden you're seeing the ad on Facebook, you're seeing it on Instagram, you're getting something here and there. That's what they're doing. They're using that information. They're using like your cookie history. That's why we have to accept cookies and stuff, because when a cookie drops on your website, that's the information that they're using to remarket to you. So if they can do it, we should be doing it too.
It's just true. Fully exploit it, to be honest. I mean, the whole cookie thing's pissed me off, like, but it has to be done. It just has to be done, I guess. For most of the things. Damn, I had another question in my head. It just slipped my mind. So would you consider yourself like how many different products do you have currently?
So currently, I guess technically it's 3, because I've got 2 styles, but one of the styles is available in 2 different colors.
Okay.
And actually the other style I'm going to get in another color as well. I just haven't started promoting that yet.
Oh, cool. And now what is your kind of like how long does it take for you from designing to creating and then obviously being able to ship out your shoe? How long does that kind of take?
It's quite a long process, and I've actually mapped out like the calendar of release for 2022 just so that everything is done on time.
Whoa.
But the way it works is that with shoes, I don't know if the timeline is the same or different for clothes. I think it might be faster, but with shoes, basically you get a prototype made, and I think different manufacturers have different lead times. But I think for me, that process was maybe about 2 weeks to get the prototypes made. And then once I've approved the prototype, because that's to make sure that the fit is correct and like it's in line with my sizing. Once I've approved that, then they will get the samples made. And that's basically just to approve colors. So I would get samples made in however many colors I want to make sure that I'm happy with it. And then it's usually faster. So actually, I think the prototypes take about 30 days and then the samples take about 2 weeks. And then once I've signed off the samples and those are good to go, then we can go into production, and production takes about 2 months. Because there's like a different production lead time. I don't know, they've got their whole process that they do in the factory, but that takes about 2 months. And then from there, depending on what shipping method I choose, it can take by air, I think it can take like a few days to like a couple of weeks. But if I wanted to ship it by sea, which is much cheaper, it can take 6 to 8 weeks. So in total, that's almost like 3 to 4 months to get a pair of shoes, which is why I've started planning for 2022 now, just so I can sea shipping.
And each pair that you do, like what kind of numbers are you looking at of pairs?
What in terms of like how much I order from the
yeah.
Okay, so starting out, I just want to, honestly, if I could do made to order, which is literally where someone places the order and then the factory makes it, I would do that because it would save a lot of money. But with my manufacturer, I'm currently ordering about 50 units per style. And then actually within those units, there's like 2 different colorways. So that's about like 25 of each color. And then that's across the different size ranges as well. So that's quite good because, I mean, the manufacturer that I worked with when I initially launched, their minimum order quantity was like 141 pairs of just one shoe. And
141. Why 41?
I don't know, you know, it was very specific, but that's what it was. So yeah. But honestly, my advice to anyone starting out, if you could get the minimum, because I think even me, I honestly would order like 10 pairs if I could. If it made sense in terms of the unit price, I would. But 50 is the most sensible. Otherwise, it's about the same price as the samples, which really doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that's what I would say.
No, wicked. I'm only asking because like so many people experience so many different things, and I like to think Lev3ls operates in like the slow to medium fashion kind of range, as opposed to fast fashion. Obviously, you can't really do shoes fast. Well, you can if you're in Primark, innit? You can do it fast. But what's the kind of price point of your shoes, and why have you gone for that price point?
So my shoes are like premium. So one of the styles is like 125 and then the other style is 130. And the reason I went for that price point is just a range of different things. So mostly to factor in the cost of production, because like you need to factor in not only the unit price of the shoes, but also the cost of shipping to the UK, the cost of like customs and all of those different things, the cost of packaging, literally everything. So that's really why it's around that price point. Because for me, I would like them to be slightly cheaper, but actually based on the work of the manufacturer that I work with, they are a premium manufacturer and the quality shows like it's actually really good quality, the shoes. So I definitely think the price point is worth it. And also because although I don't want to say I don't think you can find the styles that I've done anywhere else. You might be able to find like similar things. Like if you want a pair of black strappy heels, yeah, you can probably find them elsewhere. But these are designs that I've actually worked on with my designer. Like I've created them. So yeah, I mean, with any shoe, I think it could be similar, but these are unique to my brand. So that's why I've gone with that price point, because I do want it to be a premium thing. Like, especially if we're buying shoes finally that are our size and that are the kind of style that we want, then you want it to be good quality that lasts. 100%. So yeah.
100%. I mean, Mason, just going to throw this question to you. Like, we both love our kicks, innit? Jordans, yeah? Price point is mad steep. Have you ever flinched at those prices?
Yeah.
You have? Which ones have you particularly flinched at?
Just I was chasing a pair once and I was just like, oh. I was like, that's a bit sticky for me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm only asking that because I mean you've got people like Paula who are making a great quality shoe. And this goes back to the thing about probably the trust thing, yeah? They'll flinch at a great quality shoe. Like me, for a fact, Jordan 1s, yeah, they're not made with the same quality as they used to. Like, I love them, but not made with the same quality as they used to. They're still charging people, what, £150 for a pair? And it's a very soft, what they call tumbled leather, which is like a hybrid leather, or I don't know what they just call it tumbled leather. But what do you say?
The new stuff.
The new stuff. And I was only asking that question is because as a trainer head anyway, sometimes we go above and beyond to buy our trainers. But then when it comes to shoes, which again, just probably higher quality in terms of build and stuff like that, why do you think people flinch at that?
Is that for me?
Both of you, anybody who wants to answer it.
Cool. I was just going to say, well, for one, with those shoes that you guys are buying, you're actually paying for the brand as well. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
The amount they charge versus how much they actually make them for
is significant.
Like, yeah, it's going to be insane. So you're firstly paying for the brand. And I think in terms of people flinching with like my price points, I get, it's a new brand, but before when I launched and actually the price was a bit higher for a shoe that wasn't as nice, I was getting a lot of feedback like, oh, it's too expensive, it's too this, it's too that. And one thing that I learned from that experience was that, you know what, if you can't afford the shoe or you feel uncomfortable with the price point, then maybe you're just not my ideal customer. And that's okay. Like, if you want to find shoes cheaper elsewhere, that's okay. That's not really my business. That's up to you. But if I don't want to say if you support my brand, because I understand that, that not everyone is going to pay £125 for a pair of heels, and that's okay. But I'm targeting a specific customer, and my ideal customer can afford that, so they won't flinch at the price.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. What you should have put the question for me was DJ equipment. Like, I don't flinch at DJ equipment. I don't flinch at DJ equipment because I'm like, especially the ones I know suit my style of playing. Like, I'm definitely, I mean, unless it's outrageous, you know what I mean?
You'll be like, I'll buy it.
I'm in, because I understand that for me, it's like an asset, and it's an asset that continues to just make me money. So I don't stress too much. And I kind of look at the shoes as well. If I was a female, in sort of like that, that area, that category, hell yeah, I'm gonna pay that. You know what I'm trying to say? Just purely because it's like, this is made for me. You know what I mean? It's made for me, so it's almost like you already have a little bit of trust there already. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's obviously the brand hasn't been, and it's no disrespect to yourself, but the brand hasn't been going that long for them to have like that guarantee. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. But it's like someone's doing something that finally feels like it's for me. So it's like, yeah, cool. If that's what it costs, then cool. But obviously, some people see it differently. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm a big guy, and I would love if someone went out of their way to design suits that fit men like me. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like,
you have to go for tailoring straight all the time, then, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is the thing. Like, we did about 5 weddings in 2019, and it was expensive because the tailoring, they just don't make stuff for like me and you, sis. Like, it's
broad back.
Yeah, you're gonna have to just buy some whammy suit and just get it
all taken in everywhere.
Yeah, and that sometimes costs more than the fucking suit. So excuse my language, but yeah, it's quite frustrating. So if someone is out there producing suits that fit like sort of like a larger guy, hell yeah, I'm involved. Like, you know
that
what I
are
mean?
swaggy. Are swaggy.
I'm not gonna flinch because I'm finding like, yo, I'm in. I'm in, finally. Like, I'm in. Like, it's cool. But obviously, I mean, someone might see it differently,
No, it's true. And I mean, on the point on suits, like, suits are hard. Like, we got somebody in the group, fashion, who's actually coming on, Kwame, a good friend of mine. I don't know if you've seen his page, Tailor Different, Paula. Yeah. Like, he does that, and I feel to go. He's a big guy as well, so I know his reasoning behind that. It's actually similar to ours, Mason. But even in still doing that, it's still very difficult. Like, he's done so well to seek out all of these tailorers from around the world, mainly obviously African tailorers and stuff. That he's done so well. So obviously that market is there, but you're right. It's more about having it more on show, so we can easily find it. And hopefully, I think sometimes it's a case of, I think people want to find it, but they don't want to feel like, oh crap, I'm paying a lot of money even though I found what I need to find. I think that there's a fine balance between that. And I think that's probably why I was asking the question I was asking, because sometimes So you found something, but it's like, all right, cool, but it's mad expensive.
Yeah, but I think some people also need to remember, like, it's a small business, and I'm not even trying to say that as an excuse, but brands like, for example, I guess I don't even want to say ASOS is my competitor because I think they're doing something different. Like brands like ASOS, they have the money to like order mass quantities, which means that their unit price is going to be way cheaper.
No.
Like me, who's ordering 50 pairs and I'm paying out of my own pocket, like need to make a profit on the shoes that I sell so that I can actually grow the brand. So that's the thing that I think a lot of people forget when they come and say like, oh, that's too expensive, you should sell it for £50. And I'm like, well, it doesn't.
You can't make it.
The shit, innit? So this is the thing, and I think a lot of people need to remember that, especially when they're dealing with small brands, because I don't know, I don't want to say anything mean. I just feel like if you want to shop from a small brand, I'm not saying that you should expect higher prices, but at least if the prices are higher, you should kind of understand
why
they're not as big as those big brands.
Yeah, I think that's an education thing because most people just don't care. People
Yeah,
don't
I think
care.
it's also like the emergence of, like, obviously, like you said, things like ASOS and the Pretty Little Things and all the other little things that's out there. They kind of undervalue sort of like the middle competitors. Do you know what I mean? So like, and then obviously high fashion is always going to be high fashion. But then when like someone like yourself comes along and you've got, I mean, they're selling shoes and stuff for like £12. It's like,
that honestly is crazy, because when I don't know if it's just my manufacturer, but me personally, I don't know how they're doing it at that price. And I know obviously they order like mass amounts, which obviously, like I said, reduces the unit price. But I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about these kind of brands like Pretty Little Thing lately, because I wouldn't say I was a conscious shopper, but some of the things I've seen lately have made me like question it a bit more. So
how so?
I don't know.
But how so? Like what have you seen?
So for example, like, you know, Pretty Little Thing and the whole slavery thing in terms of they're paying their manufacturers and stuff like that in Leicester. I think with Pretty Little Thing, they're so big and they're so good at handling these scandals that people very quickly forget. But me, I don't forget those kind of things, and it makes me think twice about shopping in those kind of places. So,
but if you were in their position, and let's say, you know, Rayo blew up into this massive, insane, like sort of almost global brand.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean,
thank God.
We hope, man.
Yeah.
But and you're in a position where at this point you've got so many people working for you. You've got this massive giant of a company. Are you still going to be in a position where you think you're going to be trying to pay some of the costs, or you're going to be trying to look to cut the costs as well, like they have? Because at the end of the day, those countries that they're saying that the slave labor and all that kind of stuff's coming from, there's governments and bodies of people that are managing this kind of stuff as well. So as a manufacturer, I kind of see from their point of view, I'm not saying that it's okay, but I kind of see from their point of view where they're just like, oh, you know, like someone's supposed to be managing that stuff. We're just here to get our goods. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I do get
if the situation was flipped, would you do the same? I'm not, you know what I mean, not directly, but would you also be thinking about maybe cutting the cost of some of the production and stuff?
I definitely think, like, I would always be thinking about cutting the cost, like with everything. Like, even for example, when it comes to the unit price, I negotiated that down. Like, I was thinking about cutting the costs, but I think cutting the costs and some of the things that I've heard about Pretty Little Thing, obviously, I mean, you don't know what's all true, but the modern slavery thing that I heard was actually in Leicester, like that's governed by the UK, so there should be a minimum wage that was paid. And the reason they said it was modern slavery is because the minimum wage wasn't being met. So things like that. I think when you are a global brand, you need to be more aware of that kind of stuff. You really need to make sure that everything is in order and that everything is in line. And there should be someone who is able to verify that, okay, cool, these people are getting paid this way. And for me, I think as my brand grows, I would actually like to have, because I'm manufacturing in China, But I would love to have someone actually out there in China to make sure that, okay, oh, yeah, this, what they're doing, you know, it actually is ethical and in line with what they're saying, and they can do the quality control and stuff like that out there. And I know that it may be like slightly more of an additional cost, but I think there's always ways to cut the cost, but you can do it in a way that doesn't put people in a position where like they're not being treated right. And I think, because I get what you're saying about different governments managing stuff, and obviously the minimum wage in different countries is different across the board. So it probably would always be cheaper to manufacture in China. And I don't mind doing that, but I think I would still want to be in a place where at least, you know, in China, they're still getting their minimum wage. They're still being treated right. It's not child labor in the factories, stuff like that.
We don't know that though in China. China's
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would want to have someone there just to make sure everything is okay. So, yeah.
No, of course.
That's one of the real not great areas, but dark areas, actually, dark patches of fashion. The ethics of fashion and how things are made it's a topic which is very much brushed under the carpet too much, I think. And it's sad because a lot of people, obviously, even me as a consumer, like when I go out and get my Yeezys, to be honest, I ain't thinking of like obviously who's flipping like worked so hard on doing them and doing.
I've never had a purchase where I've turned around and said, "Boy, I wonder who made this."
It's true, but that's what I'm trying to say.
I've picked up my shoe or my
think about
my jacket,
it,
and I've just been gassed to go home and put it on, bro.
No, but
none of us really think that, man. Don't be too hard on yourself.
No. But it's like as like I get to do this more, and I get to talk to people more, and even the point that you guys have just raised about modern slavery and stuff like that. I think sometimes there must be some more ethics raised in terms of consumerism when it comes to the fashion, because there's, again, like the volume of Pretty Little Thing, the volume of stuff that they put out, and fast fashion. This is why I actually have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about fast fashion. You can't pump out, you cannot pump out that volume of product without something somewhere not being right, in my opinion. In my opinion. And that's where I think, again, not us in the fashion industry, people in the fashion industry probably need to really like start taking care a little bit more about the ethics behind what they're doing. And again, that's why I look to slow and medium fashion a lot more, because the price point is higher, but it's because they're like, I can only take one of the brands that I work with, for example. He only buys 50 of everything, and 50, as soon as it's gone, it's gone. And I see his manufacturing process, like he is hands-on and he's printing everything and making sure it's all correct before it goes out. Boom. Like, you know where that's, like, what's happening with that, who's done it, and like nobody's been harmed or nothing like that.
But when the demand gets so high though, how do you...
No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
So he doesn't let his demand go any higher. He just keeps it.
No, that's better for him. In fact, it's better for him because people anticipate the next thing. Like, if you've literally, like, that's what Off-White do, for example. Off-White, in fact, say what just released, Jordan 1's University Blues, just released a couple of weeks ago, They supposedly only made 13,000 of those. Now, 13,000 sounds like a huge number. You have to think of how many millions of people worldwide love Jordans.
Yeah.
So 13,000 compared to even 1 million is a joke. So imagine, like, that means the next one, which is going to be a Jordan 4 University Blue. Imagine the hype around those now. And this is the trainer hype. This is why reselling is actually doing as much as it is now. Again, of course, I don't personally like it too much, but it's what it is. But that's why sometimes I think making a set amount without breaking the ethics, like how this other manufacturer or brand is doing, I think works well. And that's why I personally like the slow to medium fashion.
It is actually a marketing strategy to order less, because like it creates more anticipation around the release of
exactly.
So you can almost sell out instantly, which is great. But you need to have different strategies in place. And honestly, it's a tough one, because as much as I say, like, you know, it does make me think about Pretty Little Thing, I still wouldn't say like I'm a conscious shopper. Like, I don't really shop at Pretty Little Thing anymore, but obviously I still shop at places like ASOS, which is still fast fashion, but I don't know. I think it's a journey. I really do. But I just know that for my brand, at least I want to do as much as I can to make sure that it's legitimate. Yeah.
Okay, fine. What is your kind of overall projection for Rayo? Like, what do you want in the next, say, 2-3 years? Where do you want yourself to be? Where do you see yourself even?
I really do want Rayo to be a global brand. I think within the next year or so, I'd love to be in a position where it's making enough money for me to actually be working on it full time, so I can fully focus on it full time. And within the next like 5 years or so, I would love to like introduce a tall clothing line for women as well, because a lot of the people that I speak to who are customers are tall women as well. So yeah, I would love for it to be like a multi-million-pound company. That's my goal. That's my aim. Like, I just want it to be really successful, financially and in terms of like what we produce. And I honestly want it to be a brand that really does inspire women to be confident, because like I said, I'm tall. I've been this height since for as long. I can't remember a time where I measured my height and I wasn't this height. So that goes back into like school time and stuff like that. But I've never been insecure about my height. But recently I've been in a lot of tall groups and I've heard the stories of other women who are tall and they've said stuff like they hate their height. Even now as adults, they still hate their height. And the thing is with height, it's not something you can change. It's not like, oh, you could just lose weight or you could gain weight or stuff like that. You can't change your height. So I genuinely want Rayo to be a brand that just inspires women to be confident in who they authentically are, because that's who you are. And I love being tall. I think being tall is a great thing. So everyone should have it. Yeah.
100%.
I think society's outlook on tall women needs to change. Not tall women don't need to change. I think our outlook on tall women needs to change.
100%.
Because it's obviously it puts people, when you hear people talk about not liking something about themselves, that comes from probably experiences that they've had.
Yeah.
You know, outside of themselves. And it's kind of messed up. I kind of had the same conversation just along the lines of we need to change the way we look at everything, even sort of like not just blacks, whites. You need to see more sort of like disabilities, like those kind of people being brought to the forefront.
100%.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but like if you turned on the news one day and you saw someone like maybe with one arm or like, you know, like reading the news, like they don't, but we've got into this place where like it's just the beauty standards, and it's I don't know, I think it's a human thing. It's very human for us to always want to see beauty. And the fashion industry itself, I think, is quite guilty of pushing that forward. So it's kind of nice that you're in a position where you're trying to do something to kind of combat that as well.
Yeah.
Well done to you, man.
Oh, thank you. I do agree with you, though. I think, and it's interesting because I feel like the ideals of what's beautiful, it varies from country to country. So in certain countries, being tall is seen as more of a beautiful thing. But I completely agree in terms of like just having more diversity with regards to like disabilities as well. Like I've seen a few adverts recently. I think it was a Sky advert, and the little boy, he had like a prosthetic leg, and that was really. And even I was watching a movie the other day, not to go off topic, but kids in the movie, he had like a stammer, and I literally thought to myself, like, this is so beautiful, because imagine if a kid had a stammer and he's watching this movie, and that's like inspiration. Yeah. So I completely agree with you.
It's true. Those little things that are inspiring, but I mean, although we're all on social media, sometimes social media doesn't go any way to help these narratives at all.
It does not help.
It's not. Again, there's so many topics we touch on in these conversations that are just rabbit holes, man.
Yeah,
like,
if we go into
this,
one,
like this is 3 a.m. end. This go end at 3 a.m. Nobody's got that time, man.
Yeah, but like everybody knows that on social media, like everyone puts their best foot forward, though. You know, so like once you get your head around that, I worry more for the younger generation.
Yeah.
Like at least with us, we've seen it. Like,
You have a touch of
I mean,
reality.
Instagram wasn't here like that. It's recent. It's pretty recent. So
Yeah.
we kind of understand what it is, but this younger generation, it's like they're born into this stuff, so it's normal. It's like it's like having a TV and then being born in an era where there's no TV. Like that's what we're like kind of witnessing right now. So I feel sorry for them because I feel like there's much more pressure on them to look a certain type of way, and I just don't think it's going to end well for different groups of people. You know,
sad. And the thing is, like, all of these beauty standards that we see on social media, everything changes so much. Like let's talk about BBLs quickly. Like, you know, those Brazilian butt lifts that everyone.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Let me shut the door. Give me 1 second.
But I just feel like stuff like that, when you think about like 10, 15 years ago, the way people look at bodies is so different. Like having a big butt back in the day was not the thing. So now that that's the thing, what about in 5-10 years when it's not the thing anymore? What are you gonna do? So,
Listen,
you know what's really sad? It's the stories that I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's this black guy that actually does a really good documentary on YouTube, but I actually forgot his name. But he explains, and he gets a couple of girls that come on and explain when they go wrong. And I genuinely feel sorry for some of these girls, man, because it goes really bad. Like really horribly wrong. And it goes left pretty badly. I mean, people are taking people's money, and there's a whole nother side to it. Again, that's another rabbit hole. But that's all because people feel like they kind of have to live up to certain beauty standards.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It really is so sad. Like there's a detachment from reality in a lot of social media. A massive. Although there's a lot of great body positivity movements that I've seen, there's still too much of the people who have clearly like gone onto Photoshop and got somebody to airbrush this and tuck in this bit and do this, and it's just like they're putting such a false sense of reality out to people that again it just dilutes everything. It's just sad. It's just sad to see because you see people just breaking their necks to do something which it's just be you sometimes.
It's unachievable. Yeah.
I mean, to some extent, you say it's unachievable, but it's achievable because there are some people who are really like that. But it's to the point where I don't think it has to be shoved down everybody's throat.
Yeah.
Everybody interprets these things badly. Like, say you got this big guy who wants a 6-pack so badly, and all they see on their page is everybody with 6-pack and going to the beaches and stuff like that. Next thing you know, this guy's going to spiral down a sense of depression because all they want to do is also go to the beach and take off their top and this, that, the other. But they're so self-conscious that they can't do that. And this is all that's happening so much. And it's sad. It's just sad to see. Anyways, we're gonna go down this rabbit hole, isn't it? Like clearly we are.
It's that one's for another day. We need a
family. Like honestly,
we need a panel. Like, we need a panel of people to properly talk that through because it's such a long subject.
Should we do a 24? Should we do a 24-hour charity thing? Just cover so many different subjects. Yeah?
Cover different subjects
and just go for 24 hours. That would be wicked, though. Imagine.
Yeah.
That would be wicked. But anyways, in terms of Rayo and its global appeal, and how you're working now, how much do you struggle? Because I mean, I work in a hospital, and doing levels on the side is mad tough. So I'm only imagining how it is your side actually running a business.
Yeah,
talking to people probably halfway across the world and doing other madness is like, how is it for you currently, and how are you like dealing with it all?
Do you know what? Yeah, I feel like I'm someone, I like to do stuff all the time. So there's definitely periods where I'm like on fire and I'm like sending out emails and I'm just getting loads of stuff done and I feel super productive. But then there's also periods where I'm just like, I just don't want to do anything. And the thing is, I can't afford not to do anything because I'm literally the only one doing everything. So, I mean, I feel like there's definitely highs and lows as there is with most situations in life. But I know that for me, because I love what I'm doing with Rayo so much, that it's not something that I can or will ever give up on. And it's something that I know I need to put in the work now and put in the effort now, so that in the long run I can reap the benefits and have other people working for me and doing certain things. So I mean, it's not easy, there's no doubt about it. There's just so many things involved. Like, you need to be, I would say, quite mentally strong. And obviously starting up a shoe company is not cheap either. So a lot of like the stuff, most of the money that I put into it is from like savings. Obviously I've got my job, so that covers a lot of things as well. I did a bit of freelance at one point. That was literally before I got burnout, I would say, last year, because I caught COVID. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Join the crew, innit?
Literally. And
How was it for you? Sorry to interrupt. How was it for you?
when I got it, I don't know. I think I was in denial for ages that I had it. It wasn't until maybe day 10 that I finally went to get the test done. But I just felt like the first day when I had it, like on reflection, I realized it was then. I woke up and like my whole body was aching. And like the day before, I had just been to the gym, like for the first time in ages. So I thought, oh, like I'm just aching because I went to the gym. It's been a while. And then, yeah, I realized that I'd caught it because basically my sister got it from a gym that she had been at because she works in the gym.
Wow.
And yeah, then I realized I had it. I just felt so lethargic. Honestly, I feel like I didn't get it bad in the way that I've seen other people, because after the 2 weeks, I was fine. And each day I woke up, I felt better, but I really felt very lethargic. Like I didn't want to do anything. I was still working because I didn't even call in sick, because I always feel like with sick days, I only do that if I actually can't work. I was still able to do stuff, so I just didn't call in sick. And then I told my manager in my one-to-one that I had it, and she was like, Paula, just take the rest of the week off. Yeah, but I did feel really tired, and I think at that moment I had like that plus just the burnout, because after I recovered for ages after, I just couldn't get the motivation to do anything with Rayo. So yeah, and that's when I realized that it's important to factor in time to rest as well. As much as you might be doing everything yourself and you might be like having your highs and lows, like just, I think even just one day off a week where you just do nothing, and just, for me, I just watch reality TV, and that's the way that I unwind.
Just tune out. I think that tune out is so important. Like,
yeah,
having time to just zone out. Like,
mm-hmm.
I think today, for example, before the show, like I got in from work, and I was on the couch with my baby, and I just fell asleep. And my missus was like, I don't think I've seen you this tired. And I was like, surprisingly, because you're constantly on the go, sometimes you don't really feel it until literally like
Yeah,
you take that 2 minute stop, and then boom, it just slaps you upside your head like, all right, full rest.
mm-hmm.
Literally, it's like
So
that.
true.
So to be honest, I've again listening to a lot of these people, like your Gary V's, for example, and who's another one?
Yeah, but he
David
said
Goggins.
he said he's getting a lot of sleep. That Gary V. He said he's getting sleep.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to say. That's precisely what I'm trying to say. Listen to those two. One of the things that they've always said is that they factor in sleep as a priority. Like, sleep is a priority for these guys. So like I'm slowly starting to do that. Like, I used to sleep 4 hours easily, 3-4 hours, and I was cash. I can still do it now if I really have to, but I found like me hitting about 7 hours, 7.5 hours sleep, I wake up a different beast. Like, you're much more productive, and they're right in that sense, because you can't function too hard, because even though 4 hours you're functioning, your
Yeah.
mental activity is still so far diminished that you're so used to it, you just don't see any different, and it's mad.
Yeah.
So I think rest is so undervalued. I think in this whole process of what we're all trying to do is I think not factored in as priority when it probably should be, actually. Like,
Yeah,
number one or two.
100%.
Number
It
one or
really
two.
should be.
Number one or two. But yeah. Anyways, Paula, we're gonna wrap this up. We've been going for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Actually quite a decent amount of time as well. You've provided so much lovely information, to be honest.
Oh, thank you.
And obviously, when we upload this onto the Spotify's and stuff like that, and onto our page, we'll definitely obviously be clipping up the bits obviously that you've just dropped some gems in. But thank you so much. The group again is wonderful. It's so beneficial for me to just interact with some of the people. There's one guy I've found on there I'm talking to quite a bit as well, and I'm hoping that other people listen to this and actually want to jump on, actually share their story and actually share their tips as well, because whoever knows who's behind you trying to do something as well that you just shared something with. So no, seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate talk anyway. So
what do you say?
I said I like to talk, so
you provided great information
to talk. So it's been really good.
Is there anything like in the near future coming up in terms of promos and stuff like that, or that you want people to know about? Or launches and stuff, I should say.
The only other thing, so currently I'm running pre-orders until they actually arrive, and then the actual official website launch where everyone will be able to access the shoes will be mid-May. Yeah, that's probably the next thing up. But no, until then, I'm honestly just trying to produce good content. That's really my priority at the moment. And like you said, there is a Fashion Founders group chat. So if anyone is a fashion founder, then you can just DM me, even if it's just on the Rayo Instagram. I'm obviously the one that manages that. So DM and I'll send the link. But yeah, no, that's it. And we do Clubhouse talks as well. That's a new thing.
You know what?
Oh yeah.
I've never signed up to that bloody app.
No, don't. Yeah.
No, it's good.
I'm gonna sideline people actually. Switch. What's it? Stereo, which is Android based as well. Stereo is the one. I don't care. I'm so vexed, at Clubhouse for making it solely Apple. I'm vexed. I don't care. Forget
it
them.
Is annoying. Do you know what, I can relate. I'm actually an Android user, but I had to go out of my way to use one of my sister's old iPhones for it. Like,
you're lucky.
It just has to stay plugged in 24/7.
It's that bad. Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's really that old. It really is.
You know what? I thought I'll say, because I have an iPad, but the iPad is the very first generation iPad Air, and it won't update past like the iOS 12 and iOS 14. I'm like, flipping out. I thought to just dash the thing out the window. Why are Apple taking liberties like this? I have an Apple product.
That is annoying, because you're not trying to buy a new Apple product. I'm actually Apple, but that's another story for another day.
You're anti-Apple?
Yeah. I feel like it's a cult, honestly. I feel like
it is.
Money from people.
No, it is. My godfather, he's the worst. Yeah. He was one of these like people who wasn't a tech forward person. Didn't see him for like a year and a bit. We were talking everything. I go to his house. My guy's got AirPods in. Like, what are you doing? iPhone 10 it was. Mac. He's got a MacBook, iPad, and then he's got a MacBook Air. Next thing you know, man's on his phone changing the lights because he's got these Philips. I'm like, what are you doing?
You know what, right? It's very difficult once you're in the Apple ecosystem to
come
leave.
out. Yeah.
And I left in 2020, and I've never been happier.
Yeah, really? See, I'm telling you.
Let's give him a round of applause. Well done,
because it was like,
you make it out of that cold.
I came in on like iPhone 2 or some nonsense, and I just never left. And then I started accumulating all of the Apple products I can find. It's cool, but what I find now, Android is just so much better.
Yeah, it is
so much better. And
I'm glad you said that.
I was literally, the thing is, it was hard to leave though. I'm not gonna lie.
It is, because it's what you're used
to. Like
it
was tough to like step away from the ease of use of the iPhone.
It is.
It was so crazy, but then I figured out all these little hacks to get all my phones, all the photos. Because what it was, I've had photos on like the Apple system since the first iPhone. And I just didn't know how to get those. I just like they're like precious, right?
Yeah.
But I finally figured out how to get all of those photos, and I was just like, "Bro, I'm done, man.
I'm done.
No, it's so true, honestly. I actually used to be on iPhone before. Back in uni, I was on iPhone. And then, do you know what it was? When my screen broke and I had to go to an Apple store to fix it. And obviously, I lived in Peterborough. We didn't have an Apple store, so I had to travel to the nearest city. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. And that was it for me. And now, like, my younger sister, my boyfriend, they're Apple heads. And they're like, oh, you got to get back on Apple. I'm like, no, you leave the cult soon, don't worry.
I don't miss iMessage, man. You can hold that. Keep that.
Exactly. There's other stuff for that.
Yeah, it's true.
You can keep that, man. Like, seriously. Like, it's just not gonna. I mean, all the things that you used to just think, oh my god, I can't do without. I'm just like, you know what? What have I got? I got WhatsApp, man. I'm good.
Honestly.
I'm good. Stay away from it all. But yeah, man. That's another rabbit hole that we could go down as well.
Yeah, you're right. It's like I'm anti-Apple. Do you know why I hated Apple as well? Sorry, this DJ talk. Serato would never function well on a regular thing. That's so to this day, that's the only reason I have a MacBook.
Yeah.
Just because when I was DJing a lot, the software that we had to use was literally mainly catered to Apple. I have no idea how they even monopolized that one.
To be honest, you know what it is? And one of the reasons why I ended up getting the MacBook is because I was doing a set, and luckily I was doing it with another DJ, and he was able to take over. My Windows computer
crashed. It kept crashing.
Just froze.
Yeah.
I can't play no tune. And I'm just looking at the crowd like...
1 second. As a DJ, that's the worst thing.
I'm just like...
The worst thing.
From that moment on, I said, you know what? The very next day, I went to Curry's and just copped the tin. I was like, I'm done. Because I was trying my hardest not to do it. But I was like, no, tomorrow, I'm gutted. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a Saturday night. They screwed me over. I was so vexed and so embarrassed. I was like, tomorrow, I'm buying a MacBook.
Yeah.
Like, and that was it.
Bruv, it was the same for me. That's the funny thing. It was a very similar situation for me. That's the only reason. And still to this day, that's the only reason I have that. Apart from that, I don't think I would have ever touched an Apple product because I was like, I saw their little shaggedy manipulating ways from early. I come off iPhone from iPhone 4 early.
You left early doors back when they were small.
Yeah, that's how early I left it. Then I jumped straight onto a Samsung 5, I think. Galaxy 5, and
but to be fair, like, the Android system wasn't as stable as it was.
It was. No, that's the thing. No,
it hasn't always been that stable, guys.
No, people say that, but it really has. The thing is, it's like hacks. Like for me, for example, if I'm at work and, for example, Paula sends me an email, and I want to like read it and reply to it or access some files I need to send Paula. Do you know how easy that is from my phone, like via my remote access? Like I fully mirror my computer. You don't do that on an app.
Have you got what have you got? Have you got the Note?
No, S20 Plus.
Oh, yeah, S20 Plus is fire.
It's a beast phone. It's a beast.
I've got the Note, so every time I pull out my little pen, people are looking at me like I'm like,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm about that life.
Yeah, that's right. I'm doing stuff over here, mate. Listen, look at us acting like ambassadors for Android.
Hey, they better sponsor this thing, bro.
All right, then. Listen, guys. I've fully enjoyed the chat, man. It's been really nice to hear your story, Paula.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's been
definitely.
Come on, I really like what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you.
I'm definitely excited to see some of the other guests as well that you bring on.
Listen, the one that's commenting on the bottom now, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Still, we've got unfinished business.
We've got round 2 with Daniel.
Daniel, you hear us? We've got unfinished.
Got round 2 with you, Daniel. We're coming back for you, bro.
Yeah, if you watch back, it was unfortunately a bad stream, bad connection. But his story is just about how things can go very left quickly in life, but you can recruit and you can get back to places. So. Yeah, Daniel's one. Just look for the levels, Daniel. Just look for that.
Yeah,
and try and follow it. But again, as I said, hopefully we'll get more of the fashion people on, fashion founders on, because again, everybody's got their individual great stories to tell, and there's some stylists even on there which I'd really love to talk to.
Yeah.
As well, so. And you got some people from America there as well. Obviously,
there's a woman
want to get the American counterparts on there as well and see what they're saying. So yeah, it's been really good conversation. Sorry for my doo-doo camera. As I said, restream, yeah. I'm disappointed in you, man. I'm putting
You know
that.
what? You're so camerist, man. This whole time, like, everyone else has been using like their normal cameras, their doo-doo cameras, and you've been coming with your megapixels,
I've
right?
not
Looking sharp. And then now you're feeling a bit sad for you. No, leave it, bro.
I'm feeling salty as hell, bruv. No, I don't care. I'm not casting anybody's camera, but you know how crispy Life in 50 mil was.
Yeah, it was. It was very, very.
Was beautiful.
Very nice.
You know what? I might flex on you guys. I'm gonna get a 35 just to sharpen up again. Why not?
Mate, I'm still trying to figure out how to connect mine to the laptop, but that's another story.
Camlink.
Yeah.
Camlink is the best thing that you need to get. So yeah. Also, Paula, what's it called? We're starting to do some shoots for something called our Lev3ls Lounge. If ever we need some shoes, well, probably not, because you don't have any samples, probably.
Well, I do have samples, but they're in a size 9. So if your model wears, to be honest, if your model wears a size 8, maybe a 7, they could pull that off. But if it's anything smaller, it would look too big.
That's actually one question I was actually going to ask. I know your niche is specifically the bigger sizes. Would you ever consider going into smaller sizes?
No.
Wait, that no started so far.
No. I've had this question so many times, and my response to that is like, people with smaller feet have so many options, and I just like, you guys, when you come to Rayo, you can experience what we experience on a regular basis. Shoes you love, but they're not in your size. So
yeah, you know, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that's the confidence in the product, that you know your product's fire.
Throwing it back, man.
I like it. All right, cool. Anyways, thank you so much. And yeah, hopefully you continue to tune in. We've got some great guests coming on next week. We've got a good friend of mine who I work with called CK. That is a very interesting conversation about trans, non-binary people. See, she's gonna probably see this and say, "You're gonna other us like that," and I'm telling you, I'm a bit scared for that, because there's so many mistakes that's going to be made, because it's a learning curve for me. And it's a learning curve for a lot of people. So if you can, please tune in next week, guys. Tune in next week. It's going to be a fantastic conversation about a real gray area, which a lot of people don't shine a light onto, and a very marginalized group of people, the trans, non-binary section of people. Again, I'm not othering you guys. I'm just saying how I only know how to term it.
That's why we're having a conversation, so we get more of an understanding of what this is, from someone who is actually living it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gassed for it. I'm fully gassed for it. So so that's the kind of range of people that we're getting on as well. So yeah, man. Anyways, have a great evening, guys, and thank you everybody for locking in. Daniel, bless up again. We're gonna get you back on, my G. Don't you worry about that. We'll get you back on. Yeah. Hold on. What's he done? I started writing a live story. But, hey, I'm buying it. I want a signed copy.
Jeez.
Signed copy. I'm telling you, Paula,
Daniel, your story's not over, man. Like your story's still happening. You can't start writing the book just yet. Like
he just start phase 1. He should call it phase 1.
Is this like part? Yeah, I guess it's part 1.
Phase 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, boy, I can continue talking about this one all the time. But yeah, guys, out. Big love to everybody, and restream. This is the last time I'm using you. Bye.
See you later, guys. Man.
Peace, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Peace.